LeBron is now ranked in individual defensive win shares, something you would have dominated. He's ranked 426th in the NBA, almost to the bottom.
We don't care enough right now. And that's the part that bothers you a lot. We don't care enough to do the things that are necessary. We don't care enough to be.
LeBron and the Lakers their relationship has run its course, and they need to figure out a solution. And the solution is not him being in the Los Angeles Lakers uniform.
The meeting is going to be uncomfortable. I'm not doing another 53 games like this.
Christmas Day 2024. The Lakers against the Houston Rockets, which should have been a showcase, became a slaughter. A 23-point blowout that exposed everything wrong with this Los Angeles Lakers team. And Skip Bayless pulled no punches breaking down this disaster.
The Lakers haven't played any defense all year. They're ranked 18th now in points allowed. They are the worst three-point defending team in all of basketball.
But here's where it gets personal. Skip turned his crosshairs directly on LeBron James, the king, the self-proclaimed GOAT, the man who's supposed to be leading this team. Skip dropped a stat so damning, so embarrassing that it should be plastered on billboards across Los Angeles.
LeBron is now ranked in individual defensive win shares, something you would have dominated. He's ranked 426th in the NBA, almost to the bottom.
I don't even know what that means, but goddamn.
Okay.
There are 450 players in the league. LeBron is closer to dead last than he is to average. This isn't just a decline, this is a free fall, and Skip didn't stop there. He compared LeBron to Luka Dončić, who himself isn't exactly winning Defensive Player of the Year awards.
Luka individual defensive win shares is 240th. The Lakers have one guy in the top 100, and believe it or not, it's Austin Reeves.
The only Lakers player in the top 100 for defensive win shares? Not LeBron, not Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves, the scrappy role player who was fighting for a roster spot a few years ago, is now the best defender on a team that's supposed to contend for championships. How did we get here? Skip's theory is simple and devastating. LeBron doesn't care anymore. The defensive effort isn't there, the hustle isn't there, the leadership isn't there. And when your best player, your highest paid player at $52 million, checks out defensively, the entire team follows suit. The game against Houston laid it all bare. The Rockets crushed the Lakers on the boards 48-25. They dominated offensive rebounds 17-7. They jumped out to a 14-point lead in the first quarter and never looked back. Luka had 5 turnovers in the first half, 3 in the first 2.5 minutes alone. The Lakers were disjointed, disconnected, and thoroughly outplayed. But the most damning indictment didn't come from Skip Bayless. It came from their own coach. JJ Redick stood at that podium after the game and basically said his team doesn't give a damn. He used the words effort and execution like they were foreign concepts his players had never heard of. He said the quiet part out loud. These guys don't care.
The meeting is going to be uncomfortable. I'm not doing another 53 games like this.
53 games, that's how many are left in the season, and JJ Redick just told the world he's not willing to suffer through them with this current effort level. That's a coach waving a white flag in December. That's a coach saying something has to change or I'm out. JJ Redick was a player just a few years ago. He was known for his effort, his defensive intensity despite physical limitations, his basketball IQ. He played like every possession mattered, because it did. Now he's trying to instill that same mentality in players making 8 figures who frankly don't respect him enough to buy in. Kendrick Perkins, who actually played with LeBron James, called out what everyone watching could see. LeBron's body language was atrocious. He wasn't engaged. He was complaining to refs instead of getting back on defense. He was walking up the court instead of sprinting. He was pouting instead of leading.
Watching that game last night, and I was a teammate with LeBron James, grew up playing against him, played with him in AAU, McDonald's All-American. I know this man. When he's not engaged or he feels some type of way, it speaks in his body language. Last night, his body language was awful.
This is a player in year 23 of his career making $52 million, and he's giving you 426th ranked defense and visible disengagement on national television on Christmas Day. Cut to the chase, LeBron is done with the Lakers. The relationship has run its course. He didn't want to be there in the first place. Remember, the Lakers refused to extend him, essentially daring him to leave. He worked out with the Clippers, he flirted with Cleveland, the Lakers held all the leverage with his no-trade clause and player option, and he resented them for it. So now he's collecting his check and playing offense. Defense? That's optional. Leadership? That's someone else's job. Accountability? Not his problem. And here's the kicker that Skip Bayless hammered home. Luka Dončić isn't much better. The 26-year-old franchise player, the guy who's supposed to be entering his prime, the player the Lakers traded for to build their future around, he's ranked 184th in three-point shooting percentage, despite being second in the league in three-point attempts.
Death in three-point attempts. He's shooting 32% from three. That ranks 184th in basketball. 184th. Well, that means there are a lot of empty possessions.
Think about that. Luka is launching more threes than almost anyone in the NBA and making them at a rate worse than 183 other players. That's not efficiency. That's not smart basketball. That's ego ball, and it's killing the Lakers. But the question is, what happens now? JJ Redick promised an uncomfortable Saturday practice. He said the meeting would be tough. He said he's not doing 53 more games like this. But what does that actually mean? Does he bench LeBron? Does he bench Luka? Does he call them out by name publicly? So what can JJ do? The honest answer is probably nothing. Not without organizational support. Not without Rob Pelinka backing him up and making personnel moves. Not without someone in that locker room who commands enough respect to hold the stars accountable. And that's the tragedy of this Lakers season. They're 19-10, fourth in the West, but they look and feel like a team that's 10-19. Every loss is a blowout. Every win feels unsustainable, relying on one of their three guards getting nuclear hot and bailing them out.
Talking about Curry, if I can coach my stars hard, then it trickles down. And to Perk's point where he started, I don't know that they're being able to coach the stars hard.
And that's where the Lakers are failing. The effort isn't there. The fight isn't there. The pride isn't there. Multiple panelists pointed out that defense is 90% effort. You don't have to be the most athletic guy on the court to play good defense. You have to want it. You have to compete. You have to make the choice to guard your man, rotate on time, crash the boards, dive for loose balls. The Lakers aren't doing any of that. And when JJ Redick says it's pretty consistent who those guys are that aren't making that choice, everyone knows exactly who he's talking about. LeBron, Luka, the two faces of the franchise. One panelist made a brilliant point about leadership and accountability. He talked about Greg Popovich benching all 5 starters, including Tim Duncan, 2 possessions into a game because they gave up a fast break layup after he specifically told them no transition points. That's accountability. That's sending a message. JJ Redick isn't doing that. He can't do that. You don't bench LeBron James on Christmas Day. You don't sit your max contract franchise player for effort issues, not when you're a first-year coach trying to establish yourself. So instead, you get passive-aggressive press conferences where you talk about the same guys without naming names. You get promises of uncomfortable practices that everyone knows won't actually change anything. You get a coach slowly losing his locker room in real time. The comparison to Darvin Ham was inevitable and brutal. Ham went through the same thing last season. He couldn't get the Lakers to defend. He couldn't get buy-in from his stars. He got fired. And now JJ Redick is living the exact same nightmare, just with a different seat at the table and a podcast connection to LeBron that makes it even more complicated. Rich Paul, LeBron's agent, went on a podcast and said the Lakers aren't legitimate title contenders. That's not an accident. That's not a slip of the tongue. That's a message being sent. LeBron knows this roster isn't good enough. He knows they can't win, and he's checking out accordingly. Skip Bayless wrapped up his analysis with a stark assessment. The Lakers are stuck. They're stuck with an aging LeBron who won't play defense. They're stuck with a ball-dominant Luka who can't shoot efficiently and turns it over constantly. They're stuck with a roster that lacks defensive personnel. They're stuck with a coach who doesn't have the respect or the tools to fix any of it. 19 wins and 10 losses, 4th in the West, and somehow it feels like the season is already over. Because when your coach is saying, "I'm not doing another 53 games like this in December," and your stars are ranked 426th and 240th in defensive win shares, and your agent is publicly saying you're not a real contender, and your body language on Christmas Day looks like you'd rather be anywhere else, what hope is there? Skip Bayless destroyed the Lakers because the Lakers destroyed themselves. The effort isn't there. The accountability isn't there. The defense isn't there. And until someone in that organization decides those things matter more than egos and contracts and podcasts and pride, nothing is going to change. 53 games left. It's going to be a long, painful second half of the season in Los Angeles.